The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRCMedia, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
This week in FRCmedia News, investigators have released their initial findings into what caused last week's tragic fire at the Gabriel House Assisted Living Facility. At the same time, the city and region have stepped up to support the families of those who died and those who are seeking to rebuild their lives. All this and more coming up. It's Thursday, July 24th, 2025. This is FRCmedia News. I'm Keith Tebow. We're learning more into what caused the devastating fire that claimed 10 lives at the Gabriel House Assisted Living Facility on Oliver Street in Fall River just over 10 days ago. Bristol County District Attorney Thomas Quinn, working with State Police, the Fall River Fire Department, and the State Fire Marshal's Office, have determined the fire was accidental yet undetermined, with the focus on two possible causes.
Investigators determined that the Gabriel House fire began in a residence room located on the left side of the second floor of the structure. As the district attorney said, they found no evidence of an intentionally set fire in this room. They found no signs that cooking, lighting, heating, electrical outlets, or other appliances contribute to the ignition of this fire. They found no candles, incense, or related items. They did locate the damaged remains of a battery-powered scooter. We believe that the damage was product of the fire rather than the cause. Investigators also identified an oxygen concentrator and numerous smoking materials in the room. Tragically, the occupant was among those who lost their lives on July 13th, and we could not speak to that resident to get an account of the fire in its earliest stages. As a result, the available evidence left to them was two possible causes. One was an electrical or mechanical failure involving the oxygen concentrator. The other was improper use or disposal of smoking materials.
Marshal Davin reiterated that the combination of the concentrated oxygen supply along with the smoking materials may have contributed to the intensity of the fire.
Investigators believe the presence of medical oxygen played a significant role in the fire's rapid spread and the ensuing tragedy. Oxygen is a necessary component of any fire, and it was present in the area of origin and other locations at Gabriel House. In an oxygen-rich environment, the fire will ignite more readily and spread more rapidly and burn at higher temperatures. Home oxygen was a known factor in about 20 fire deaths and more than 36 injuries in Massachusetts over the past 10 years, and it was a suspected factor in many more. Most of these incidents involve smoking materials, which are the leading cause of fatal fires here in Massachusetts and across the nation. And tragically, just like at Gabriel House, the victims were mainly older adults at increased risk due to health or mobility issues. Please, there's truly no safe way to smoke, but smoking is especially dangerous when home oxygen is in use. No one should smoke around medical oxygen.
Fall River Fire Chief Jeffrey Bacon once again took the time to praise the Fall River Fire Department for their work in ensuring more lives were not lost.
What I can say is that every firefighter at the scene that night gave 100% and then gave more to preserve as many lives as they could under catastrophic conditions. This includes dozens of off-duty personnel who raced to the scene to help. We have a philosophy in the fire service: you risk a little to save a little, and you risk a lot to save a lot. And they risked everything in hopes that others might live. So we mourn the lives lost and the decades of family memories that were erased as a fire, smoke, and intense heat tore through Gabriel House. I ask that you say a prayer for these families, and I also ask that you spare a thought for the first responders who are confronting their own trauma. They did a job no one should ever be asked to do, and I know they would do it again. They represented the very highest traditions of the fire service.
DA Quinn says the complete investigation into the cause of the fire and the circumstances that resulted in the loss of life will take weeks to complete. Governor Maura Healey paid another visit to the city this week to meet with local officials to get an update on the Gabriel House Fire. The governor announced she will make $1.2 million available for Fall River immediately to begin the process of hiring needed public safety personnel. This money comes from the state public safety staffing grant.
I've instructed my team to expedite the release of funds in the municipal public safety staffing program. This $5.7 million in funding for that program is for police and fire. It will be open to all 10 eligible communities, which in addition to Fall River include Brockton, Framingham, Haverhill, Lawrence, Lowell, Lynn, Malden, Newton, and Somerville. I want to thank in particular Chair Mike Rodrigues for his continued leadership on this front, and to the legislature for making available and appropriating these important funds for fire and first responder personnel. Thank you very much, Chair Rodrigues. Thank you to the legislature. My job as governor is to make sure that money gets out the door and gets out very quickly. We're expediting this in light of the tragedy, again, with significant funding going to Fall River, as well as going to 9 other communities that are eligible by law.
The governor also announced an expedited response from the 273 assisted living facilities across Massachusetts on how they prepare for fire disasters.
Each facility must provide detailed information demonstrating compliance with fire safety requirements, including sprinkler systems, evacuation protocols, fire-rated doors and walls, emergency preparedness plans, and more. Each facility must issue a letter to all residents and family members of those residents within 5 business days outlining fire safety protocols, evacuation procedures, and key points of contact for questions or concerns. I have directed Secretary Lipson and her team to identify additional regulations that could further protect residents in assisted living.
Since the fire on July 13th, residents of Fall River and beyond have stepped up to donate to the families who lost loved ones and to those who seek to get back on their feet. A fundraiser Friday at the St. John's Club, organized by the Fall River Firefighters Association in collaboration with Christopher's Cafe, collected thousands of dollars. Catholic Charities Diocese of Fall River used its experience in collecting items for those seeking basic needs to organize the donation of clothing and personal hygiene items for the survivors of the fire. Sheila Chassie, Director of Housing and Basic Needs for the organization, says donations have been steady at its headquarters on Bay Street since early last week.
It was like going through a fast food drive-through. It was, the cars were just one at a, just coming into our awning, and our maintenance crew, volunteers were just helping unload and get into the donation room so we can start sorting and packing. It was, if we didn't receive, 20 cars an hour, there wasn't one. We averaged anywhere from 100 to 200 cars a day. So it was a matter of just getting organized by sizes, men's, women's, different genders, separating that, getting organized. And then as that was happening, I started receiving the information on the names of the victims, where they were placed, things like that. And it was just a matter of starting to bag, gather our volunteers together within our agency that we have, reaching out to other service providers, hey, do you have a volunteer, and things like that, and bringing them in and help pack us up and get the deliveries out.
Catholic Charities has received the support of many volunteers to organize the donations for delivery. Among them is Sharon Kroll of Swansea, who's retired and felt the need to contribute her time to those in need.
It was just so heartbreaking. Listening to it on the news, I couldn't believe what a horrific event it was. And I just felt the need to reach out to try to help the victims. And so I came here Monday morning. I wanted to give a monetary donation, and I asked if they needed any help, and she said, "Sure do," and I've been here ever since. Made me feel really good. I feel good. It's good to get up and feel like I'm really going to do something important today.
Catholic Charities has supported 55 of the 60 survivors of the fire, providing them with 10 to 15 full outfits of clothing. After an initial delivery of goods to get them started, the focus now is providing clothing targeted to their individual needs.
You have people that have said, you know what, I just would like sweatpants. So then you don't bother giving them, regular, zippered pants, because that's not what they want. Same way some ladies like nightgowns, some just like pajamas. So this way, and we'll have someone to say, I really need slippers and I need sneakers in a certain size. So this way you're really going according to what they need.
Because of the immense outpouring of support, Catholic Charities is no longer accepting donations of clothing. Instead, they're seeking donations that will provide survivors more flexibility toward their recovery.
Their needs right now are really gift cards. This way, we're packing them, we're choosing their outfits. We're trying to, put together things that we think they may like according to age and size. But it would really be nice for them to go do a little shopping for themselves. Pick up maybe the right size undergarment, something that fits better for themselves. It's a dignity thing also. It's a hope thing. It's going to lift their spirits, trying to get them back to a little bit of normalcy. I don't have somebody go shopping for me. So it's something that it makes it a little bit more personal for them to be able to go do some shopping. And that's their need. So really gift cards to Walmart, Target. I've even had a gift card request to Five Below. So, any gift card, any denomination will help them. And I can tell you, I've met with many of the fire victims, and they are so appreciative of the outpouring warmth coming from the community. Everyone that I've met is nothing but tears. They're just so thankful and grateful.
Ms. Chassie says Catholic Charities will continue to support the survivors of Gabriel House for as long as needed.
They're still processing. And that's, this is a grieving process. They've lost friends. There were lives lost, and they were their friends. And so they're not only traumatized themselves from the experience of the fire, but now they're adding that their friend didn't survive, but why did they? There's many questions that they still have. And those are things, unfortunately, I can't answer. But if I can make their day a little easier, knowing that they can, shower and put a fresh set of clothes on, that's what we're here to do.
Even though the staff and volunteers are focused on supporting the victims, they also are impacted by the collective community grief.
I've had my moments. We're human. I've had my moments. I personally experienced a fire many years ago when I was a child, and it was traumatizing, and it takes years to heal. So I've had my moments. I try to focus, while I'm working this, to really just focus on getting their needs met. And then at the end of the day, I have a moment or two. You can't help but be impacted.
Catholic Charities cannot accept cash donations. Those who want to contribute money can do so through the United Way of Greater Fall River.
We have our disaster response fund already in place, systems in order, lots of protocol and processes, and we are taking in donations that are being restricted to help Gabriel House residents, families, staff, first responders, those affected by this. In addition, the Firefighters' Wives Association also stood up a GoFundMe page where they're helping more of the individuals. And so together, collectively, we can help ensure that no one's falling through the cracks, and also that we're not doing any harm in the way of doing good. If folks want to visit our website at uwgfr.org, there is a Gabriel House disaster response button right on that homepage. And folks click on that, they'll see it does lead to our annual campaign, and they scroll down to see Gabriel House Disaster Fund. We have a Venmo. A lot of people use Venmo, so they can open their phone, open their Venmo, and find at United Way Fall River. And those funds will go to the Gabriel House Disaster Response, 100% of the proceeds. And we also have text to give. Can't be any easier than that. Folks can open their phone, open a text, and text Gabriel House Fund to 44-321. And they'll be able to get right to that Gabriel House Disaster Fund.
The Red Cross is coordinating efforts to help housing the needs of survivors. Anyone in the community seeking counseling can start by calling the United Way's 211 line or the Samaritan's 988 Crisis Lifeline. We now know what the Fall River municipal election will look like following last week's deadline for interested candidates to return nomination papers. 5 candidates have qualified to run for mayor, warranting a preliminary election in September. Incumbent Paul Coogan seeks a 4th term in office. Challengers include Carlos Caesar, Michael Vandal, Gabriel Boomer Amaral, and Christopher Sylvia. 14 candidates have returned papers to run for city council. The 8 incumbents will seek another term. Linda Pereira, Andrew Raposo, Paul Hart, Brad Kilby, Joseph Camara, Michelle Dion, Cliff Ponte, and Sean Kadim. Appointed incumbent Ricky Tiff has also taken out papers. Challengers include Nathan Sylvia, former councilor Christopher Peckham, Louis Mellum, Michael Canuel, and Jonathan Lima. There will be no preliminary election for city council. All candidates will be listed on the ballot at the municipal election in November. 10 candidates will run for school committee. Incumbents Kevin Aguiar, Tom Corey, and appointed incumbent Colin Dias have secured their nomination, as have challengers Randy Dudek, Mark Mollicone, John Sylvia, Anna Riley, Emmanuel Moniz, Chanel Stewart, and Shiv Thakur. As with the city council race, there will be no preliminary election for school committee. You'll see all candidates on the ballot in November. Stay with FRC Media as we open our platforms to the candidates to share their vision on why they should be elected. Governor Healy this week gave remarks to local business leaders at a luncheon hosted by the One South Coast Chamber. The governor recounted the accomplishments of her administration over its first 2 years in office, including devising ways to make it easier for businesses to start and grow in Massachusetts.
I directed my team to take a look at regulations, and in our first go-round, we cut them by 25% across 6 agencies. So that's a start. It's a work in progress, but that was my charge to the team. We've got to make it easier to do business. We got to get rid of stuff that doesn't make sense. Maybe it did at one time, but it doesn't anymore. And we are continuing to take input from you. And I say, Mike, to all members, you know, we had a survey. I want more input about what are the things that are unnecessary, that get in the way, that add costs, that add time, and what can we eliminate? Give us that information, because the team is ready to take that up and make those changes.
The governor says she remains focused on building more housing to attract and retain residents.
Part of the success and the numbers that we've seen is through investments, tax credits in gateway cities, including Fall River and New Bedford, HDIP. That's a tax cut package that has resulted in a 600% increase in housing units, 1,200 units alone in the pipeline. And it's an example of the kind of progress that we can make. Making ADUs, accessible dwelling units by right? A quick way to bring more things. We've done permitting and zoning reform at the state level, but as we know, the rubber meets the road at the local level. So I just ask, implore, working together. There's a lot of great designs. There's a lot of ways to zone. It brings vibrancy when done right. It brings vitality to your community. It actually will raise property values over time, and it'll be more attractive in terms of a place to live. So if we don't do it, you know, we're not going to be where we need to be as a state.
We'll have more FRC Media News after this.
Here are some job descriptions and the latest hot jobs list from the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center. Admissions RN, Bristol Hospice, located at 1 Father de Valleys Boulevard, seeks a full-time admissions RN, responsible for completing hospice consultations, evaluations, and follow-up on patient referrals. Job number 227-97361. Refrigeration Technician, Blount Fine Foods, located at 630 Current Road, is urgently looking for a full-time refrigeration technician to provide 24-hour refrigeration service, including monitoring, troubleshooting, and repair of the ammonia system. Job number 227-90452. Administrative Assistant, Stepping Stone Incorporated, located at 466 North Main Street, is seeking a full-time administrative assistant, responsible for administrative functions including billing, clerical, bookkeeping, accounting, and other related office duties. Job number 227-92757. Student Support Caseworker. Child and Family Services, located at 66 Troy Street, is looking for a full-time student support caseworker. For more information, call 508-676-5708. St. Anne's Hospital, located at 795 Middle Street, has an immediate need for the following full and part-time positions. Surgical Techs, job number 227-95715. Nursing Assistant, job number 227-95371. For more information about these or other positions, visit Mass Hire JobQuest at jobquest.dcs.eol.mass.gov or call the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000.
The next round of traffic changes related to the Duval Street reconstruction project will take place this Monday. Access to Turner Street will become available for those traveling northbound. Additionally, lanes southbound from the Veterans Memorial Bridge will be shifted to their final configuration. Fall River's unemployment rate in June dropped compared to the month earlier. The jobless rate last month was 6.3%, down 0.5% from May. The rate in June a year ago was 5.4%. Just about all communities in the region and other gateway cities also saw a drop in unemployment. Statewide, the unemployment rate remained unchanged for June at 4.8%. It's that time of the show where we take a look at the local business and economic development news. I'm joined by Kevin Lawrence from Fall River Development News on Facebook. Kevin, how are you?
Very well. Happy to be here once again.
All right, a couple of updates on projects we touched upon before, but they're moving forward, mainly in terms of local housing and apartment projects. The Zoning Board of Appeals recently had a meeting where there were a couple of issues that came up. The first one is a renovation of an historic convent, and that apartment project will now move forward.
Yes, the former Holy Union Sisters Convent at 550 and 570 Rock Street in Fall River, a very historic site. It's one step closer now to becoming a 12-unit residential apartment. The Fall River Zoning Board unanimously approved a variance and special permit from Rockview LLC for this development proposal. Now, initially, Rockview LLC came before the board and was seeking to put 15 units into the convent. They reduced it and revised it to 12 units. Following feedback from the previous meeting, there was a lot of opposition to this. People don't want residential housing at that site. The neighbors were complaining. The historical commission was upset with it as well. The changes, though, include reducing that unit count and altering parking configurations to address the concerns of the residents. But it did go through, and it looks like it's going to happen.
Yeah. All right. Second project before the zoning board is in the south end, the bottom of Slade Street. We talked about this before, about a larger project that's going in there.
Yeah, this was originally going to be 81 units along the waterfront right at the very bottom of Slade Street. That proposal was reduced to 48 units. The new development is going to happen now because it was approved by the Zoning Board of Appeals. They granted a special permit to Hyde Development LLC. 48 units going in there. There'll be a total of 3 buildings. We have a rendering up for your viewers to see, with the first 2 floors having 6 2-bedroom units on each level. The third floor in each building will have 4 3-bedroom units, and there'll be at least 2 parking spaces per unit. So that's going to be 3 modern buildings going up at the bottom of Slade Street with 48 total apartment units.
And something you just mentioned is interesting. A lot of times when there's new development of market rate housing, you don't see a lot of 2 and 3 bedroom units.
Yeah.
This is going to have that, right?
So there'll be some families moving in there.
Yeah.
And the residents, the neighboring people who have abutting properties to this new development were kind of upset because of the increased traffic. But they did reduce it from 81 units to 48. So that made people feel a bit better, I think.
Yeah. And if you've seen this segment, as we've been doing it since the beginning of the year, we like to end with some restaurant news. There's a bakery that's going to be opening up soon.
Yeah, J&J Bakery has officially opened for business at 109 George Street. This is right next door to Michael's Provisions, right near Lindsay Street. The newly remodeled bakery is in the same spot that formerly housed Camara's Bakery. That bakery closed several years ago. It's been a vacant spot for quite a few years, and now it's a new Brazilian bakery. They also sell American and Portuguese products like breads, savory snacks, sweets, and various delicious breakfast items, I'm told. It's a couple that owns it. They were living in Brazil, and they've been living in the United States now for about 11 years, and they have experience in the bakery industry. They also are bread distributors for the past 3 years in Mass, Rhode Island, and New Hampshire. So we wish them well. New bakery has opened up, George Street in Fall River, J&J Bakery. Check it out.
All right, and Kevin, thank you as always. You can find out more with Kevin and Fall River Development News. Just follow him on Facebook. He's there and publishes a lot of activity that's happening business-wise and economic development-wise in Fall River. All right, Kevin, we'll talk again next week. Take care.
Thank you, Keith.
Hi, welcome to Hot Dogs and Cool Cats. Today with us we have Conan. He is roughly about 2 years old, Chihuahua mix. We're not sure what the mix is. He was an owner surrender, no fault of his own. So he does need a little bit of reassurance. I think he's used to trying to protect the person that he's kind of sticking with. So he does, sometimes if he gets a little nervous, he'll growl. But he is a very sweet boy and he doesn't redirect very easily. For him, as of right now, I'd probably say no children, just because he's nervous. Once he warms up, that may change in time. He does love to play with toys. He loves to go for walks. He's very handy outside. He loves to roll in the grass. So if you want to come meet Conan, you can call Forever Paws Animal Shelter to make an appointment to come see him. You won't be disappointed. He is a fun little guy. You can also go on our website at foreverpaws.com.
Today we are showing you Shadow. Shadow here is a 7-year-old domestic shorthair. He's all black. He and his brother came to us as owner surrenders. Sadly, his previous owner had passed away, sadly. Shadow here is very, very outgoing. He just loves his pets. He loves getting his scratches behind his head. He loves stretching out. He's a good, lounging, lazy cat. They would probably do well with kids, so long as they're respectful of them. If you think that you could make a good home for Mr. Shadow here, you can come down to 300 Linwood Street in Fall River, Massachusetts at Forever Paws Animal Shelter. You can also give us a phone call at 508-677-9154.
That'll be a wrap on this week's edition of FRC Media News. Please visit our website, frmedia.org, for more local news and information. FRC Media News airs Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Fridays at 5:30 p.m. on Channel 95 and the Fall River HD channel located on Channel 1072. For all of us here at FRC Media News, I'm Keith Tebow. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next Thursday.